Greetings, listeners. Welcome to Consulting Between Friends. This episode will be a bit different from our previous shows. Our topic is COVID and you. We will engage in conversations ranging from what we are hearing, what we are seeing, and what we are being told. It has been an entire year since our lives have changed due to the pandemic. The ways we used to communicate with each other are not the same anymore. Our interactions are different in the workplace and in our schools. It's even different in the ways we shop and do business. It's a new day and we're living a new way. This new norm has been a challenge for all of us. Now, everyone wants to get back to life as they knew it before COVID. But in order for that to happen, everyone has a role to play and we must all play our part. That means vaccinations, along with other safety measures, are the key to combat the virus that has changed our world. Now, some people are glad to receive the vaccine, while others are reluctant. As we have been in ongoing conversations with elected officials, pastors, community leaders, and others, we are hearing reasons why people have not had the vaccination. Our federal government, the local government, and companies are having to make tough decisions on how to move forward with the new Delta variant. During this episode, we will be talking about the myths versus the facts that have led to the mistrust and misinformation that people have about vaccines.
After a short break, we will return. Everyone is always planning things, and advertising is needed to make it happen. So, if it's personal or business, let Pinpoint Designs and Images solve that problem. With Pinpoint Designs and Images LLC, you will receive quality work and professional service at a great price. The service that is offered: flyers, business cards, programs, invitations, photo books, ad booklets, and much more. Michael Holmes Jr., owner/principal designer of Pinpoint Designs and Images LLC, contact me by email or social media. Email address is pinpointdesignsandImages@gmail.com, and Instagram Pinpoint Designs, and Facebook Pinpoint Designs and Images. We are back. Welcome to Consulting Between Friends. I'm your host, Michael Holmes Jr.
And I'm Shay Romana Jones, your co-host. And we're honored to have one of our mentors to join us in a much needed conversation around COVID, the pandemic, and our city. And with that being said, I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Well, thank you, Shay and Michael, for inviting me to join you in that conversation. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Jacqueline Carol Jones, Executive Director and Lead Organizer of the Jeremiah Group, the oldest community organization in Metro New Orleans. And I've been organizing for the past 25 years, changing the quality of life for families when it comes to housing, education, jobs, and let's not forget about healthcare. But before I became an organizer, I spent 23 years with the Jefferson Parish Public School System, educating children grades 9 through 12. I spent the time teaching special ed and regular education. My last 25 years and the 23 years, I have actually been working with people for a good 48 years. When I left Jefferson Parish, I was working as the intervention coordinator, which not only trained teachers, but also touched the lives of families in organizing how their children would be educated. That was a very fulfilling position. But you know what was so interesting? And I think I should tell you this. I've really been organizing since I was 13 years old. And how did I do that? Well, I integrated one of the first schools in Jefferson Parish. And you can just imagine what that was like. It required a lot of advocacy, organizing, and engaging. And so at that time, I didn't know I was an organizer, but the rest became history. I'm an organizer. I engage.
That you are.
And that is true.
So, Miss Jones, we talked to your team, and one thing that I know about you and remember very, very well from working with you on projects is that you love Cokes. And we made sure we got you a 22-ounce Coke so you can have this and get very comfortable in discussing a lot about yourself and also about the things that you have going on in the city around the COVID pandemic that's taking place. So let's really kind of just jump into it. You shared about being a teacher. You shared about being an organizer. How did you make transitions from teaching to organizing? Because our listeners would like to know these things about you.
You know, Shay, that's an interesting question because when I became an organizer, one of the first things that I was taught was that the word organizer is just a fancy word, a name for teacher.
Okay.
So organizing and teaching was something that just worked hand in hand. And so it wasn't so much of a transition that I had to make because I was doing it in that role as a teacher to begin with. And as I think about the role that I play as an organizer, it is not just something that I wake up and do every morning to get a paycheck, but it is also a part of a ministry for me. Mm-hmm. It's something that it's a gift that God has given me in how to engage people and how to work with people and work on projects that can improve their lives. And so I look at this twofold. It's ministry as well as work.
Okay. Well, since you mentioned about projects dealing with the Jeremiah group in organizing, what projects that you have worked on?
We have quite a few flagships that I'd like to just kind of lift inside of the work that Jeremiah has done. And one that I think this audience would be very in tune with. Right after Katrina, we know how devastated New Orleans was left. And the Jeremiah group was responsible for organizing with the federal government and the state government and local government to bring a housing program to the city. We lost our houses, rent was skyrocketing, and there were programs being put in place to assist people with rent. But what we decided, how about making those same people who lost their homes homeowners?
Yeah.
Because we know homeownership is one of the ways that people build wealth.
Yes.
So we reorganized that affordable rent program and made it an affordable homeownership program. And yes, there are plenty of homeownership programs that exist. But the uniqueness in this one is that it was designed for people making as little as $25,000 a year.
Yes.
We literally brought $75 million to the city and designated that 85% of the people who would benefit from that program would be people with an income of $25,000.
And I can say firsthand, I was a part of that, and it's just so funny that you brought that up because that's how I met Mike, working with that, working on that initiative with the Jeremiah Group. With the first home buyer. That's how me and Mike actually we met. Mike, you remember that, huh?
Yes, I do. I do remember.
You walked up to me, introduced yourself.
How about that?
You know,
How about
it's
that?
so crazy. You
How
know,
about that?
so yeah, so that was definitely a wonderful time for the city, and you know, Jeremiah Group did really do a very good job there, and we got trained really well working with you, Ms. Jones.
And might I add, that program brought $75 million to the city.
It did.
And the homeowner who were able to qualify received $75,000 as a soft second and a $10,000 down payment. And if they lived in that home for 5 years, everything was forgiven.
Yeah.
And last I heard, over 1,500 families benefited from that program.
No, that was wonderful.
So that is just something.
Yeah, and I feel really good about that still to this day that I worked with you in Jeremiah Group to make some of those families have homes again. But let me ask you this question too, Ms. Jones. You said that you were one of the first Blacks that integrated schools. Talk a little bit about that and how do you see what's going on here in the city that's going to help us lead into more about what's going on with COVID in our communities here.
Yes, at the age of 13, I walked into one of the middle schools in Jefferson Parish. And I cannot tell you what that felt like and what it looked like because it was not a pretty picture. Yet, having the parents that I had and the relationships that they had inside of the community and inside of their church, there was a swell of support to make sure that I was in that school, that I did well, that I was treated well. And I don't have to tell you, it didn't come easy.
No, it didn't.
And so, even to today, I have organized with making sure that as we walk into environments that we're not always welcome, that we open the door to put things in place for that to happen. In 2010, we were able to get 43 children, students of color, who had been denied admission to the advanced academies in Jefferson Parish, only to learn that they were wrongfully denied. Mm-hmm. And so it brought me back to age 13 to just kind of look at how, things were happening. Yet we had the cooperation of the administration to look into the situation, and we were able to put a task force to kind of monitor what was happening in the system at that time.
When you say administration, explain more about that administration. What's the difference of the Jeremiah Group and administration of the school system? Was what you're saying? What are you saying?
It was both.
Okay.
It was the Jeremiah Group leadership that took on interviewing and working with parents who brought that information to the organization, to our community meetings and inside of individual meetings, to the point that we brought it to the school's administration, to the administration of the district, and said, here's what we're hearing, here's what people are experiencing, and we need an investigation. And that led to uncovering that, yes, there were 43 kids who had been wrongfully denied. And we're pleased to say that those kids were admitted, many of them, the majority of them.
When you say admitted, you're talking
they
about
were allowed to go to the school.
You're talking about the African American kids
and other kids of color.
Okay.
And so what has happened, it has forged a strong relationship between the school system and the Jeremiah group.
Okay.
Because again, there's an accountability piece that Jeremiah is always wanting to be in place. Yes. But I must say, working in the community and being able to engage and build those relationships, what we see happening now is little time is being spent at keeping our kids out of school.
Yes, and look, as you're speaking, I know our listeners are understand that you're truly credentialed to get out there and make things happen for people of color, and people that are wrongly being treated or wrongly getting the wrong information, and you're getting information out there to help people to understand how they can voice their rights.
That has been something that I've worked on, I guess, for my entire life. And at the same time, it's not just, we work to improve the quality of life for all people.
Yeah.
Okay. We work to make sure that everyone has health care. We work to make sure that everybody has a chance to receive an equitable and quality education. And most importantly, and especially with what's going on with the pandemic, healthcare has been at the center of the work that we've done. We actually had played a major role in the Medicaid expansion that took place here in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And that was years of work that, I can remember all of the bus rides we had from New Orleans to the Capitol.
Yes, I remember being a part of that with Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Mike, you've done a lot with Jeremiah.
Yes,
and
I have.
and to sit here on this show and look at you hosting this show, I'm going to take some credit for that. That you're able to actually sit here and engage in conversations. Because remember, the work that we've done for the last 25 years has been around engaging people, engaging organizations and groups.
It's two things that you said, and I want to get more into what's going on now, what you're doing in the city and the parish. But it's two things you said. You said that you look at this work as a ministry, and you also said your parents had a lot to do with of who you have become in the journeys that you've been around. Can you give us something brief on those two things together about your ministry and your parents? Can you give us a little brief, because I know some story about your family, but I'd like you to tell our audience a little bit about your family and how you put all of that together to become this powerful woman here in Jefferson Parish.
Well, let me start off by saying the word brief is not in my vocabulary.
Okay.
And I think everybody by now has realized, that lady likes to talk.
Even though I said it, I was trying, but we're here to have a real conversation, an extensive conversation about what's going on in the city. But I would be reluctant to not have you say something about your spiritual background and your parents that has helped shape and mold you to be the wonderful lady that we know.
Well, let me just start off by saying that I came from a family who taught me the meaning of being a person who cared and who taught me about how God expected me to live. And they didn't only teach that to me, they demonstrated what that looked like.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember going to church every Sunday and singing in the youth choir. I can remember my parents, they didn't send us to church, they brought us to church.
Yes.
I remember Sunday school.
It's kind of lost today.
I remember Bible study on Wednesday. I think I sung in the youth choir, the young adult choir, and the senior choir. And my dad was our minister of religious education. And my mother was our minister of music. And so, I mean, what other way could I have grown up without knowing the meaning of caring for people? And my dad, Dr. Joseph Carroll, was also in the community. He ran the community centers in Jefferson Parish. My mother, being a renowned pianist, I think she played for every church in Jefferson Parish. And so when you would put those two together, they were a force to be recognized. And I mean, I loved what I experienced with them. My parents raised 4 daughters, and I'm the oldest, the smartest,
Oh, wow.
and the prettiest.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, what else can I say? You know, I had no choice. God blessed me with wonderful parents.
That's good.
And here I am. And I'm gonna shut up because, as I said,
Yeah.
brief is not in my
we
vocabulary.
just like to give our audience a lot more depth on our guests, so that they can look them up and follow them and possibly get on board of the things that and missions that they have going on. Well, moving a little fast forward. So what's going on right now, Ms. Jones? What do you have happening? I know you're going to be calling on us to do some work with that, and we're on
Are
the
you
front
ready?
line with that. We're always
Yes,
ready.
Are you ready?
Totally ready.
We're
Okay,
always
are you ready?
ready.
You know, it's unfortunately, there's so much misinformation surrounding the vaccine and its development. And because of that, it has, just led to an abundance of mistrust in our community.
Yes.
And on, on that note, we see where the vaccinations that could help us stay safe, not be sick, and even not die. There is still a large number, and particularly here in Louisiana, a large number of people who don't believe in the vaccination.
And why do you think is that?
And, that's a good question. But, as an organizer, I'm out practically every day meeting or on a Zoom call or on a phone conference with our elected officials, with community leaders, with pastors, and just with people who live in the community, and the things that they share about not wanting the vaccination. I mean, it seems to be this common thread. It's four reasons, that we hear most frequently, and it starts with the misinformation and the mistrust.
Yes.
And some people are just complacent. And people talk about the convenience. And so those four reasons for people not getting the vaccination is what we're hearing all the time. And so what it has prompted the Jeremiah group to do is to look at strategies, not just look at them, but develop and execute strategies that one can get information to people,
Mm-hmm.
that we can teach. We can teach people better.
So what strategies that you have came up in mind that can help the community?
Well, one, since people won't come to us, we're having to go to them.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, it's being done in various ways, okay? And one of the things that we're doing is we did something when we were doing voter engagement.
Okay.
We did something.
What is voter engagement? This is for our
your listening
audience. We may know it, but sometimes we have to. Well, not sometimes we have to break it down so our listening audience can understand.
I talked about the work we did around housing. I talked about the work we've done around education, but I think one of our biggest signature pieces is the work we do around voter registration and voter turnout. We have what we call an initiative, and it's called Keeping Democracy Alive, Block by Block. And what that means is we actually go out and engage voters. Now, we're nonpartisan, so we don't tell people who to vote for, but we encourage them to vote. We educate them about people or what the platforms are, and encourage them to vote for people based on how do they feel a candidate would best serve their community.
Yes.
And so that block by block got so much recognition until we developed what we call lifetime voters. And every election, we bring out the signs. We partner with communities. And if they agree to vote in all elections, we give them a certificate calling them a lifetime voter.
That's very familiar.
And when then we also give them a sign, a yard sign, to put in their yards when it's election time. And it says, and we started the first community that actually participated was the Old Harvey Civic Association, who reached out to us to say we want to turn out 100% of our voters, and so we trained and informed, and so these signs that they got for becoming a lifetime voter with a certificate and a sign, it says, I live in Old Harvey. I'm a lifetime voter. But the funniest thing about that, the first year we did it, this community that we went to had about 1,000 families, okay? And I would say over 85% of the people agreed to become a lifetime voter.
That's wonderful.
Okay,
yes.
and so they all got these signs in their yard.
Yes.
So people start hearing about them, and people from other parts of Harvey start going and taking the people's signs.
Wow.
I remember that.
You remember that, Mike?
Wow, I
remember that.
And I can remember probably every local TV station walked with us for a whole day putting those signs in the yard.
So you're saying that is one of the ways that you're thinking about going into these communities.
That's
to
correct.
Get people informed.
Let's get back to what your original question was.
Ma'am.
All right.
Yes.
Well, here's what we're doing. We're actually targeting communities where that are being referred to as hotspots.
Okay.
And so we are actually surveying the residents to see who has the vaccination and who doesn't.
Okay.
So as we visit those homes, we had to put street teams together, and they go into these neighborhoods and they're asking people, are they vaccinated? And if not, and even if they are, we created a document that's called Myths versus Facts. And we put it in everyday English so that the average person could read it and understand.
Yeah.
For instance, one of the myths that we're hearing it more and more, that the COVID-19 vaccine includes a tracking device.
Yes,
Yeah.
heard that.
And so that is so funny.
I think that is
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
funniest.
You know,
That is-
right?
that
You know,
is-
have you guys heard that as
Yeah,
well?
I mean,
Yes, we have
I've
heard
had
that.
I've had some crazy
Uh-huh.
things I've heard. You know, I've had some conversation
Like a magnet thing,
with
a magnet,
yeah,
with the phone.
I've heard a bunch of people say, they're trying to track us. They want to know where we're at. And I always, when someone says that to me, I always say, hey, take out your phone. And they take out their phone, and I say, this is the biggest tracking device they can be if they want to track you. I say, pull up your Facebook. You pull up their Facebook. I say, pull up your Instagram.
Yes.
Pull up their Instagram. Pull up your Twitter account. Pull up your Twitter account. And I'm like, if you don't think they tracking you now, they don't need to give you a shot to track you or put anything in your system to try to, this is crazy too. I've heard that, trying to have some type of connection with the 5G towers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, people can just come up with
But
any
again, that's
type
right.
of thing.
But think
and
about
I think, and I want you to explain a little bit more about what you were going to say about that tracking, that how it got distorted.
That's right.
Somehow
the information has been distorted. And again, people are reading stuff on Facebook
Yes.
and on Twitter. And what's that other one? Snapchat?
Well,
just anywhere.
Instagram,
Snap, but anywhere. And I mean, and
what's that other one, Mike?
Yeah, YouTube.
What's that other one? The one that they be doing the little dances to?
TikTok.
TikTok. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah,
TikTok.
I thought that was what I'm like. They got information on TikTok. I thought TikTok was just a dancing app.
Well, it is, but they got information as well.
But let me just kind of say why people are thinking that there's a tracking device. Now, the syringe company that provides or have a contract with our government to provide those medical injection devices, there is, listen to this, the syringe label has a microchip on it, and it's to help providers confirm a vaccine dose origin. And so think about it.
What's an origin?
Where did it originate?
Yes. Okay.
So what it's doing is it's tracking the vaccine.
Yes,
it's tracking the vaccine.
Chip
yes.
is. But here's the deal. Think about it. So here's a syringe. And I have said to people, okay, so get a syringe. You know how skinny that little needle is?
Yeah, that is true.
Tell me, where's the chip?
Yeah, that's true.
How do you get the chip? Because, there's some liquids going in your arm, and it doesn't look there's no solid piece to that. But then I think, we have to explain that.
Yes.
So in our fact sheet, myths versus facts, we explain that. We explain it in everyday language. And so people say, I never thought about it like that. I say it's just like a pen that may have a mark on it, but it's not going on that piece of paper that you're writing. The pen, I never thought about it like that. And even to the point, people are saying things like how quickly the vaccination was developed.
Yes.
But believe me, that vaccination went through a rigorous Food and Drug Administration process, just the same as others. What made it go faster?
When you
other
say
vaccines,
the
flu vaccines,
right.
But what helped with the fast pace of it being developed is, first of all, let me go on air saying no steps were skipped. The unprecedented worldwide, I should say, the worldwide collaboration of all of these different agencies collaborating and not taking 6 months to do something that should have, before the pandemic,
Yeah.
taken 3 weeks.
They took the politics out of it.
So they took the politics
out
that's
of it.
That's a better way.
They took the politics out. They took
way
the
of
red
saying
tape out of it, and they say we need to get this to people fast in a hurry because we were losing people. Excuse me, we were losing people. Bodies was bodies are turning out very seriously coming out of these hospitals and these funerals. So they knew they had something on their hand, and I'm glad you said that because I want to say this too: is that they, people in America really just kind of look at it as America, but this pandemic and why it's called a pandemic and with this COVID, it's worldwide, and I try to share with people a lot is that think about the major countries in the world. The major countries in the world had to, you're saying people like Russia, China, United States, Middle East, Africa, all these continents was coming together to say we're gonna plan something to track people and hurt people. I don't think people look at that
the logic
behind it because that's too many powerful countries to come together. When they can't come together, just on small things, that the leaders are going to come together to trick people to try to take a vaccination that's going to harm
they
them or
realized
control
it was
them.
affecting where everyone lives and in their countries,
Right.
and they knew they had to come to a situation to make it all be better for everybody.
And it kind of goes why I said all of that. It goes back to what you're saying about how they pulled the politics out and took the red tape because it needed to get out to the world to save lives.
Well, listen, I don't want to go into my ministry, but I will say this. If you read scripture, it will tell us that, at some point, nations will be against nations and fathers will be against sons and diseases will plague the land. And and if you're paying attention to, am I allowed to say God on this show?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Yes, you can. God is speaking to us, he's trying to get our attention. Yes. Okay, people, come on,
slow
look
down
at what we're doing. Look what's happening. And listen, we've had 1 wave, 2 wave, 3 wave. Are we in our 4th wave? He's saying they didn't pay attention to what I had to tell them.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to come back and give them another chance. So let me just say this. I'm working for God at this moment, trying to get the information out there, trying to encourage people. Now, listen, again, I'm a community organizer. I don't go preaching and telling people what to do. My point is I am working to educate people. I'm working to bring that pandemic comes to them. They won't come to us. We're going to go to them. And we took our block by block concept and said, we're going to go block by block, but door by door.
Educate
and let's educate people. We're doing something, we had an event scheduled for this coming Saturday. But last week and this week, so much was happening. We just didn't know where the pandemic was. So we're doing special events as well. Yes. And we're doing special events with incentives to get people to come out. Yes. And believe it or not, you should not have to bribe people. Yeah, but at the same time, that is happening.
With what's going on and how the folks are in communities are still not understanding the seriousness of this pandemic. We have to be creative and we have to think outside the box of how to get people educated and vaccinated. So, and I love that y'all are always on the front line of things that's going to help change people's lives and save people's lives. So, I know you said you had a few more things. I see you got your notes. And what are some more other things and that you can discuss without laying out your whole plan?
Well, I like y'all remember the word brief. But anyway, let's go back. Okay, we're looking at this event, and so a lot of stuff is gonna kind of hit the ground on Monday, early next week. We're doing this parade of information.
Okay.
And just imagine a parade with information going out, you know. And so we're really excited about that. And we're doing something called Vax and Relax.
Yeah.
And
Vax and Relax. I like
Vax
that.
and Relax.
That's
And so we have a real well-known artist that's coming out. And while he's entertaining, the band and the vocalists are entertaining, we're going to be shooting people in their arms. with
information.
With information. Along with a vaccination.
Oh, that's nice.
And you know the interesting piece about it, we have these cool coaches, and they're going to be walking around on the ground asking people, are you vaccinated? You know? And so, you know.
So so it sounds like y'all putting some thought to a lot of things.
And so it's really going to be, you know, a fun thing. And I like this thing. You know, most people, you know, I may be making an assumption, but I'm going to say it. You know, there are many churches that have returned back to worship service in person. And so, and it appears that, you know, many of them are vaccinated, but there's still that percentage that is not. And so we're doing something called Saving Soul Sunday with vaccinations. And so, you know, we always talk about saving souls, okay? Well, we're calling it saving lives.
Saving lives,
you know, we're actually, you know, what we're doing, we're substituting the word soul. So Saving Lives Sunday.
And let me ask you this question too, Ms. Jones. Are y'all also going to be doing testing too, you know, before the vaccination?
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct. Because of what we're finding, people are now saying, well, I don't know, I think I have symptoms. And so they're now reluctant to want to get a test. I mean, want to get a vaccination before getting tested. And so we are in conversation. I actually have some relationships with several providers.
Okay.
Well, what's one
have
of the
agreed to do
providers
it.
that you're thinking about working with?
Well, a lot of the local hospitals
Gotcha.
and some of the clinics.
Gotcha.
And so those are people who are partnering. It's interesting because, listen, I have 2 phones and they never stop ringing. Somebody is always calling for Ken Jeremiah. I mean, we are working with a parish government, which is huge. And we are working with quite a few pastors that's out there. And Jeremiah, for years, have built relationships with fraternities and sororities and neighborhood associations. And we're working with all of those people, getting everybody involved in saving lives. We're not in the business of souls, but saving lives.
And that's what's going. That is what's going to take. It's going to take. I don't know what's going on with me tonight. But it's going to take that type of initiative to get people turned out. You said 2 things too. You said these events. I like that. With the events, that's a good thing because, and I want to tell a little story. I was talking to some young ladies about them getting vaccinated, and they were talking about transportation. Okay. So this is funny because I'm bringing that up because I know that is something.
I think I heard that. I think you shared that.
And I believe this is something else that I think you guys are working on. But the young ladies was telling me that they had made their mind up. They were going to go get vaccinated. And a person that was driving them to go get vaccinated talked them out of it with all of this all of these missed things that people are putting out there. And I just thought that was the craziest thing I've ever heard. And I tried to get them back on track, but going back to what you were saying about the type of events that you guys are going to do, having people on the grounds like that, where, you know, if you have them on the fence, you'll get a chance to go ahead and get it done before they change their mind. Because that's how ignorance is really being passed around when you have someone that has the mindset to say, I'm going to go and get vaccinated, get tested, and then you can have someone that was giving them a ride. Change their mind.
You know, we are laughing, but that's really sad.
That's sad.
Okay,
it's sad.
It's sad. And but at the same time, that's why we think that piece of paper. I think our mid versus fact sheet has 11 of the most
most
common reason why people say that they don't want to get the vaccination. And believe it or not, it has to be people that they trust. It needs to be people that they know.
Yes.
And then these same people need to be informed and ready, to become an advocate for the for the vaccination.
Yes.
And it's a lot. It's a lot of work. You were referencing, I don't know what it is, but I know we've had a very, very busy day today. Just getting things put in place.
Yes.
And because remember, we have to go out and we have to find other people to work with us,
right,
partners, and to engage
train,
in. And we have to get those people trained. And then we have to find the resources to put all of these things in place.
Right.
And so just that by itself
it's
a
some
lot.
organizing.
And then,
it's a lot of work.
And so then more importantly, we have to design the strategy. And guess what? We designed a strategy, and guess what? That strategy has to be executed.
Yes.
And so it's like, I'm finding myself, my mind is always running. And so I'm always thinking about this. I'm always thinking about what I have to do.
And let me ask you this. I knew you guys are going out and tell me if I'm saying too much. Stop me. This doesn't matter. I knew you guys are going out. You're going to educate. And after you educate these neighborhoods and getting these community leaders to get behind you and push that, and I heard you say you're working with different medical organizations and providers. So all these medical providers are going to be working with you on the grounds too, actually coming in and doing some advice. Okay.
Yes. Let me just say this. There are a couple of doctors that we are working directly with, who will be providing additional information to what we're doing.
Okay.
And just for the record, we didn't come up with the myths, the facts ourselves. The research was done, and also reference.
When you say we didn't come up with the myths,
I'm saying the Jeremiah Group did not just come up with the answers to counteract what the myths are. We met with experts, and we got information from them. Right. And so it's not that we don't want to be just like the people who are spreading bad information. But we got that. We went and got the information.
Yeah, I didn't get an answer. You did answer, but I want to be more clear for my listeners. The doctors or these providers are going to actually be giving shots.
That's correct. Let me just say just a little bit more
when y'all
about
are on
that.
the grounds. Okay.
The process looks something like this. We go in first, all right? And it's being done two ways. Through phone banking, making the calls, because some people feel more comfortable with contacting their residents via phone. Some people are bold and have the courage, and they will go and knock on doors. So one of the things what we're trying to do, so we're not just wasting time and going out into the communities, we're trying to identify who's already vaccinated so that we don't go there. Yes, we can give them the information, but we're really trying to get to that person who we want to put that needle in their arm.
Yes.
So there's pre-work prior to the vaccination.
Right.
And that pre-work is understanding who needs to be vaccinated, but also who have agreed to let us give them the vaccination. And I don't mean me, but those medical professionals. So we get the information, right? And then if you say yes, and Mr. Holmes, I came to your house, hypothetically, and I knocked on your door, and I introduced myself. I'm Jackie Jones with the Jeremiah Group, and we're working in partnership with XYZ provider. and that provider is here to offer a vaccination to you if you've not had one. Oh no, Miss Jones. You can role play this with me, Michael.
Okay.
No, Miss Jones.
No, Ms. Jones. No, Ms. Jones, I do not need the vaccine. I already had the vaccine just recently.
Oh, very good. So look, we want to leave this information with you. And can you share this with your family and friends?
Yes,
all right.
I can.
But then I went over to Mr. Jones and I knocked on Mr. Jones's door.
Who is it?
This is how about that? And you're gonna get some of that.
Who is it?
Some of that. Okay.
I'm not buying nothing.
Oh no, sir, we're not selling anything. We're not selling anything. We're here to talk to you about the vaccination.
Okay.
The COVID vaccination.
All I know, listen, I watch the TV. I watch my CNN. I'm on Twitter, my favorite. See somebody telling me right now y'all was coming over here. And they telling me y'all gonna try to tell me about something that I already know about. So tell me something different. I know they trying to put stuff in my blood and track me. Why should I let you talk to me? Who sent you over here?
Well, sir, I just want to let you know. And so listen, y'all, we get some of that.
Yes.
And so this is the person I'm saying, sir, would you take the time and read this fact sheet? Because there is a lot of misinformation.
You Joe's Coward daughter.
Yes, I am, sir.
Oh, that's good people. Let me see what you got there.
Okay. And that's what we're looking to have happen.
Let me see
and
what
that's
you
why
got
we're
there.
sending people from the community in the community. And most importantly, we are training those folks.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
We're not going to just send people out there cold
Yes.
and not know what to say.
Yeah.
And so
That's
now
just
Shay
role
Jones is going to get the vaccination.
Yes.
So then when
I didn't know this. I didn't know that. I thought this. Oh, y'all trying to save me.
That's right, sir. And I'm going to call Dr. XYZ.
Y'all got the shot with y'all because I ain't got no car.
Yeah.
Well, look, the mobile unit is right down the street, maybe a block from you. Now, if you can't walk down there or drive down there, sir, we will bring the shot to you. Can we come back in the next 10 minutes? I'm going to make a call and someone will be at your doorstep.
Yes, you can. And they got two more of my friends down the street. They can't walk. And I think they'll want to get it too.
Well, can you call them and let them know I'm coming?
as long as your pretty self go bring them this information.
So listen, you hear all kind of things.
When you're doing door to door, it's very interesting.
Yeah, it
and
is.
that's
Yeah,
and
it is.
listen,
Yes,
the
it
whole
is.
goal is just
To
to
save-
really
yeah,
to try to save lives,
Yes,
you know.
yes, ma'am.
And we want to be professional,
Mhm.
and we want to make people be comfortable in getting it because remember they already have a mistrust.
Well, and let me ask
They
you this.
already have
Let me ask you this, Ms.
misinformation.
Jones. How y'all getting funded? How can y'all get funded? Can y'all take donations? I mean, I'm hearing that you have institutes that's working. The hospitals, clinics. How are y'all getting funded, and how can our listeners help you? Now, I will say this. We want you to leave some information, but don't leave your phone number.
Oh no, I think it rings a number.
Please don't leave your phone number, but tell us how can we help, or can we get more information to our listeners coming from your organization and whatever your platform is.
Well, let me just say this,
Because this is a wonderful
we
thing
have
y'all guys are doing.
always operated on grants.
Okay.
I mean, that's not normally the way the Jeremiah Group has, been able to have the resources to do the kind of organizing that we do.
Okay.
We don't go out asking, people to give us money because this certainly this I'm not here.
And that's not. Let me say that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying
because
that's not. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there are people around the country that are also wanting to help.
That's correct.
And don't know how to help. And I just want to give folks an opportunity to talk to someone that's knowledgeable as yourself, as your organization, and possibly if it ain't about finances, which I know y'all probably all well funded. But if it's not,
let's think about that one.
But I'm just thinking about there may be other organizations and other groups and churches and things that's out there that's listening that might not just want to help, that might need your help.
Well, I was giving
as well. That might need your help to help them strategize the same type of plan and same type of movement that you're doing.
We are open to working with anyone who wants to come together to help save their communities. And so I am going to leave that information.
Okay.
And yes, we know there. Let me just say this. I think our local government in different organizations have, they've been out there with events. And we know when the vaccination first came to light, there was like a rush. It was like a gold rush for people to go get their vaccinations. But that is stalled.
Right.
And so people are not, as eager to go get the vaccinations. And so putting on these different kind of events, we can always use resources to help us to do that. The other thing is, we're trying, what was it? Guys, I didn't go register, but what was it? Shot for a million?
Yeah, shot for a million.
Shot for a million.
Yeah, okay. My pastor's sister-in-law won $100,000.
Okay,
it's real.
And I heard that.
I was like, well, why they ain't had that when I went and got the shot? I would have signed up too. You would have gone.
But you had to go online.
But I'm just saying, it's that serious. It's that serious that they're giving that type of money away for people signing up to go get the shot.
And I think that ended. I'm not sure, but let me just say that. So here we are trying to find.
I asked all my kids. I said, y'all get all y'all shots. Everybody got their shots. I was like, I'm trying to win this $100,000.
But who would have thought we had to go in that state just to get people to get vaccinated?
Yes. That's what it is. Yes. Okay.
This is just where we're at.
That is just where we are. And so, we can't we can't do that kind of incentive.
No.
But we are, looking for giveaways for people.
Right.
What we're doing with one of our
when you say giveaways, you want to give giveaways to
the people who come and
sign up and get shots. Okay.
Right. And here's what I mean by that.
Yes, ma'am.
For our Vaccine Relax.
Yes.
Okay, so this is going to be an on-site with the
music.
hoping the entertainment will draw people.
Yes.
So here's what we're hoping to do. Maybe randomly, Mr. Jones, you may be the 20th person.
Right.
You got that gift.
I got the
gift. Okay, now we're going to promote it.
Yes.
All right? Hey, Mr. Michael. Mr. Michael might be number 32 or 35. Oh, here's something for Mr. Michael. And so when people start hearing it and we are announcing it, we're hoping that's going to encourage them.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's just, and when we do that parade, the parade of information. I can't wait to be
I can't wait. I
can't wait. That's gonna be fun.
And we know how to party in New Orleans, so
absolutely.
So I think
party
that's
with
gonna
a purpose.
And that's what this will be. A party with a purpose.
Oh.
When I said vaccine, what do you mean you're doing vaccine relax? Smooth jazz in the park? Oh, smooth jazz on the boulevard? Oh, I like that.
Yes.
So we've just had to come up with
different ways,
all kind of ways. And it brought me back to my teaching, days when I had to be very creative because I always believed every child could learn. I just had to make sure that I designed lessons that they could learn from. And so if this is what it takes, the creativity to get the vaccine in people's arms, we've rolled up our sleeves and we're ready to go. And I cannot thank the people who have come to want to support what we're doing with volunteering and so on. So again, I'm going to tell you how to get in touch with me.
Yes.
You can go to my Facebook page.
Okay.
The Jeremiah Group. That's one way you can contact me. And then you can also go to my email address. jeremiahgroup@yahoo.com. Oh, and my number is 5. Oh, I forgot. Mr. Jones said, do not give your number.
I wouldn't suggest that. I wouldn't
but how about
suggest
that?
But give that again. Give that again.
Okay. Let's go with it. Let's go back. Facebook is The Jeremiah Group. My email address is Jeremiah, JermiahGroupno @yahoo.com. And believe me, I return any reach that I receive, because that's one of my pet peeves. If I call you, I expect you to call me back. So I do the same. If you email me, I will email you back. So just feel free to reach out. And I hope this has been a conversation that can help you to move forward in how, if you only get one person to get a vaccination, you have done a lot.
Yes.
And, all of us sitting here, had COVID impacted us one way or the other. And so, we take it serious.
Yes, we do.
And we need you to do your part.
Yes.
In encouraging people to get vaccinated.
And
if you haven't gotten vaccinated,
you need to get vaccinated. Yes. And let me say this, and this platform that we have here, you can come here at any time and speak on movements and helping community. You can use this platform at any time, Mrs. Jones. We like to know about what's going on within the next 2 weeks. I think y'all have some shows happening. We'd like to bring you back so you can tell us about the success to that. And if you are
you mean available, I get to talk some more?
Yes, you can talk some more. You can talk some more, because I know our listeners would definitely like to hear about some of those events that take place and how many people probably got vaccinated.
Okay,
and things like that. We definitely like to bring you back to do that if your schedule allows you to.
Well, let's try to make it happen, because the more people we can reach, we want to do that. We have some TV shows lined up that we're going to be doing, and some radio shows as well. We're trying to reach people in every way that we possibly can.
Well, we appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate that, Mrs. Jones, and being a part of Consulting Between Friends. And I'm glad you was able to be a part of the show today.
I looked forward to it.
Thank you.
In closing, in today's episode, we have learned about Jacqueline Carroll Jones and the organizational work that she does with the Jeremiah Group in the community, and a little bit about herself and how she got to where she is at this point. She also explained how important it is to inform people and engaging in the community with the correct information about the COVID vaccines, for they will not have no more misinformation spreading around, which will stop people for getting this vaccine that is much needed to get back to normalization that we all wish we have. We also hope this information was very valuable to everyone who was listening about the information of the COVID vaccine and how important it is to get the vaccine and educating yourself for the vaccine. One last thing, remember to support Black business owners and get vaccinated. Thank you for listening to Consulting Between Friends. This podcast is available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts, as well other platforms that are available. So like and subscribe. Need to contact us and leave us a comment? You can find us on Instagram at Consulting B Friends. Once again, Consulting B Friends. An email address is consultingbfriends@gmail.com. Once again, consultingbfriends@gmail.com. Consulting Between Friends. Thanks to everyone for making this possible. Your hosts Michael Holmes Jr. and co-host Shay R. Jones. The producer and content creator, Michael Holmes Jr. Artwork cover, Michael Holmes Jr. Original music, a DJ name Slash. Introduction narrated by Tanaj Jones. Special guests, Jacqueline Carroll Jones, Executive Director and Lead Organizer of the Jeremiah Group. Email address, jeremiahgroupno@yahoo.com. Content distributor, Power 77 Radio.